Did you know that there is more than one type of procrastination? And you might not even know that you are doing it. Today, we're going to be talking about the different types of procrastination so that you can recognize it in all of its shifty little forms, okay? Because it is a form of self-sabotage. And because of that, sometimes it's hard to identify. And a lot of times it's sneaky and you may not even realize it's happening. So let's just start with Webster's definition of procrastination. It's very vague. It's just the act of delaying or postponing something. So it gives the impression that there was a time to do this thing and then we're moving the time back. Now, I would go even a step further and say that the procrastination that we're talking about, the one that makes you feel that sort of guilt, that shame spiral, slight bit of excitement, like a little nervous because maybe you're not going to actually finish the thing unless you get started soon, but you're still putting it off. That kind of procrastination that we are looking at as a form of self-sabotage is anything that you are doing consciously or subconsciously that puts off the things that are aligned with your mission and goals. So if you are planning to write a book this year and you know that the steps are, okay, I need to actually have an outline. Maybe you're going to work with an editor. Maybe you're going to try and self-publish, or maybe you're going to try and do the research to decide if you're going to self-publish or if you're going to go with a publishing company and see if you can pitch it and get accepted. But the second that you start thinking about it, it feels too overwhelming. And so you just don't get started. Or maybe you start it and then you get overwhelmed and you stop. So this is you procrastinating. And I'm the world's biggest recovering procrastinator, just FYI. So, I'm not, it's the pot calling the kettle black, right? So if you're a procrastinator and that's one of your go-to mechanisms when you're stressed, that book just is going to keep getting pushed off because whatever is going on for you, something else comes up, or you just keep putting it off, or you just keep playing small. And so we are missing so much from you, from the other women in the world who are actually meant for big things, but continue to play small and continue to put off the stuff that's actually aligned with their goals. We are missing books. We need those books. We are missing businesses that need to be started. We are missing hobbies that need to be started because you need to contribute to the art of the world and people want to enjoy it with you. We're missing you at your highest self because you're putting off stuff that really prioritizes what your true self wants. So, what does this look like? How can you recognize it? And what are the types of procrastination? You have to know these in order to recognize if it's happening. And then I'm going to tell you what to do if you see these things happening for you. So what procrastination might look like for you is maybe for your social media, for your business, you know that you need to create some posts. And when you sit down to do it, or when you start to sit down to do it, suddenly you remember, I got to put the laundry in from the washer to the dryer. Okay. So then once you do that, then maybe it's like if you give a mouse a cookie, right? So you go move the laundry and then it's like, oh yeah, but I need to make sure that I have things ready for dinner later. And then it just becomes this big pile of things. And then before you know it, you haven't started the social posts and it's already the end of the day. So maybe that's one form of procrastination that you deal with. Maybe you just wait till the last minute to start projects. Maybe instead of looking at your timeline and saying, okay, this podcast episode needs to be done and recorded by, X day, so Saturday. And instead of doing it on Monday when you have a block of a couple of hours that you could plan it out and record it, then you wait until Friday. And then your timeline is so crunched that you can't quite get to your best work. You just have to crank it out and be done. Or maybe it's that you have something due for your job. Maybe you don't have your own business and you're working for someone else and you know that presentation needs to be done by next Tuesday. So you leave it until Monday night when you maybe just remembered, oh gosh, I have that thing tomorrow. So you might just wait till the last minute to start on projects. Another way that procrastination can show itself is by our stress responses. So our sympathetic nervous system is what kicks in when we're in survival mode. The sympathetic nervous system is responsible for fight, flight, freeze, and fawn modes. So fight and flight pretty obvious. Freeze, pretty obvious. You may not know the fawn mode. The fawn is the most recently recognized of the 4 Fs that our survival system does. And fawning is to please your way to safety. So maybe you notice that you have one of these going on whenever you're stressed, and it affects how productive you could be. Maybe you are suddenly tired when it's time to work. That's your freeze response kicking in. Like, I'm just going to shut down. Maybe you feel resentful when you're supposed to be doing this certain project. And so that's your fight response saying, nope, we're not going to do this right now. That's also, by the way, if you're looking at this in the sort of internal family systems, inner child stuff, that's your inner teenager. If you feel mad or resentful that you have to do something, or if you're tired of obligation and work, your inner teenager like needs some understanding and support in that moment. But that's for another episode. Maybe you are running late everywhere. Maybe you procrastinate walking out the door. This used to be my whole world. Like, I mean, I can't even tell you how much this was what my MO was. And I would put off finishing the task at hand. I would, instead of just wrapping when I needed to, in order to have plenty of time to transition, I would think, oh, well, I can leave a few minutes later. I don't need buffer time. Inevitably, you need buffer time, girl. You just do. We just do. Okay. And I had to really have a compassionate come to Jesus moment with myself about this. I was annoyed at the idea of having to get somewhere early. I didn't like the idea of like wasting time. I'm doing air quotes, wasting time. And so I wanted to just get there when I knew that the thing was going to be starting, or I would want to just finish this one last thing before I walked out the door. But that never allowed me any buffer time. So maybe you're always running late and you're just procrastinating the transition process from one project to another. Maybe you book time for yourself to do a project. I had a client at one point who kept booking time to clean out her laundry room because she knew she needed to do this so she could renovate it. And every time she would like book the time in her calendar on a Saturday afternoon or something, she would go in there and she would look around and get so overwhelmed that she would just be like, I'm going to start this later. And so she didn't feel like she had enough time to do the whole thing at once. So she just wouldn't get started. So maybe you have that all or nothing thinking. That is a form of procrastination, is thinking, okay, I got to have all the things, all my ducks in a row. This also happens with a lot of business owners that I work with. Got to have the branding, the website, the email sequences. We got to have the online presence, the social media before I can make a sale or before I can get my first client. And it's just this procrastination. And Denise Duffield Thomas, who wrote Get Rich, Lucky Bitch, she's a great money mentor. She calls it procrasti-branding for entrepreneurs. So if you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business and you're just like, oh, I just need to get the logo right, or I just need to wait until I get my SEO perfect on my website, and then I'll make some more money, or then I'll put a course out there. So maybe you're just kind of stuck in this, like, I can't get it all done at once. And so I'm just going to wait until everything is done in order to get started. Maybe you look at your to-do list in the morning or whenever you look at it, and you feel so much overwhelmed that you just freeze or you break down. Maybe you're suddenly tired. You're like, okay, now it's time to focus. I finally have this time to focus. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I just really feel tired. Maybe I should get up and take a walk or go take a nap first. Your system is sending you messages, and I'm going to tell you how to decode the messages in just a moment. Couple more things you want to watch for as far as types of procrastination. Revenge bedtime procrastination, baby. Raise your hand. I'm raising both my hands and both my feet. If you have ever kept yourself awake past the bedtime that you really wanted for yourself, that you know you needed in order to wake up the next day and not hate your former self who decided to stay up late, and you just don't do it, and you stay awake and you watch your show or you do whatever. Man, I did not get enough me time today. I deserve this. I deserve a treat. So you keep yourself up, or just, I need a way to turn my mind off. So I'm just going to doom scroll on social media. And doom scrolling doesn't just have to be part of revenge bedtime procrastination. Doom scrolling in general is a form of procrastinating you being in your real life and getting stuff done. So I'm sorry, I'm not attacking you. I promise. This comes from a place of love, and I'm sending you the biggest hug. And girl, we got to get our stuff together. We have to do this because there's big stuff inside of us. There are big dreams that need to be realized. We cannot allow doom scrolling and bedtime procrastination and waiting till the last minute to do stuff. Man, life is passing. And there's so much beautiful stuff to do and to bring and to birth. Like, there's so much for us here. So really being gentle with ourselves and just recognizing when this is going on. One final thing I want you to watch for is if you know that when you get to your focus time, that all of a sudden your brain becomes very distractible and real foggy, that is your survival system being like, let's put this off. So recognize it as a form of procrastination that happens when even literally when your body or your brain seem too tired to do the task at hand. Now, the caveat here is I want you to rest. I want you to feel good in your body. Your body needs you to rest when it's appropriate. And it's up to us to kind of live in this gray area where you have to decide, is this the moment that I'm meant to rest? Or is this the moment where my body is feeling overwhelmed? My nervous system thinks we're running from a wild animal because it's feeling this stress. So let's take a moment. So when you recognize that your brain is just trying to keep you safe by these forms of procrastination, you can come from a place of compassion. And that is key to all of it. Okay? So here's your 4 steps to get you to the other side of your procrastinating tendencies, okay? Number 1, notice it. Sense it in your body. Notice when you are putting something off, when you are experiencing something that I just mentioned, that you're waiting till the last minute, or that you're suddenly tired or suddenly foggy, or you're procrastinating your transition between things so it makes you late. Notice when it's happening without judgment. See if you can just objectively notice it. Then you ask yourself, and I like to put my hand over my heart when I'm asking this of my beautiful little survival system, what feels uncomfortable or unsafe about this that I'm putting it off? So you can say, what feels unsafe about leaving early for an appointment? What feels unsafe about doing this, recording this podcast episode 2 weeks before it's due and just having it done? What feels unsafe about it? You may get some really interesting answers. In that moment, I also want you, after you get your answers, to do the 3 S's. I'm going to talk about this ad nauseum because I want you to remember, I want you to hear my voice in your mind every time you get stressed that says safety, self-nurturing, and support. So you need to take your 3 deep breaths. That conveys safety to the survival brain. Okay? So you've got your 3 deep breaths, your safety. Then you do some self-nurturing. So then you make yourself a cup of your favorite beverage, right? You make nice hot tea. You hit 4 out of 5 senses when you're nurturing your senses in that step with a cup of tea. So you can do whatever you want that nurtures your senses. Just find something that makes your body feel good. And that will send another message to your survival brain. Hey, we're not running from a wild animal. So then the third thing is to find your safe support person. This is your green light bestie who never judges, always validates. And that will help your brain feel like you're part of the herd. So when you do the 3 S's, after that, you have to really look at the answers that you got to the question, what feels unsafe about doing this the way that I want to, instead of procrastinating, and uproot the beliefs that created that thought pattern. So this takes a little longer, but honestly, as many decades as you've been operating this way, it only takes 6 to 9 months to rewire this. Gentle, accountable steps in the right direction that are sustainable and don't throw you back into survival mode, preferably. So continue to think about the things that your brain is putting out there. What are the beliefs? What are the negative beliefs? What are the limiting beliefs that it's putting out there that says it's not safe to start this project unless I have the time to do the whole thing? It's not okay to do these social media posts because I'm scared of being visible. And really embrace the answers that you get and go after that part of yourself that feels insecure, scared, or a little bit overwhelmed. Like, maybe I can't do this. I'm doubting myself. Those are the parts that we really want to nurture. So I hope you'll take such good care of yourself. We're going to continue talking about getting unblocked, getting rid of the procrastination, people pleasing, imposter syndrome, perfectionism, and negative self-talk in your life. And I hope to see you right back here next time.